Hello there, welcome to Football on 5. 90 minutes of top-class action on the way from right across the EFL. To guide us through it tonight are Michael Gray, and the Barnsley head coach Paul Heckingbottom is here as well. His side were at Brentford today, so welcome to Paul. We'll discuss that match in detail a little later on. We'll also see how Kenny Jackett, who was sitting in that very seat actually just a week ago, how he fared in his first match as the new Rotherham boss. Here's what else is coming up. Despite a recent blip, Bristol City have muscled their way into the promotion-chasing pack. Could they keep up that charge against Owen Coyle's revived Rovers?
Still Patterson! Terrific try.
Neil Warnock has hit the ground running at Cardiff. His latest test, a trip to Nottingham to face fragile Forest. And there are contrasting fortunes for the teams jockeying for position at the top of the table. Let's begin then with the top two in the Sky Bet Championship. At the start of the day, at least, it's taken 13 matches for promotion favourites Newcastle to reach the summit. They did it thanks to this 2-0 victory over Barnsley on Tuesday, courtesy of Dwight Gale's 10th and 11th goals of the season. Today, they faced Ipswich.
Newcastle's wait to reach top spot in the Championship was perhaps longer than many had expected it to be, but having finally got there, they were in a hurry to stay put. Crisp passing from the off at St James's before Paul Dummett's cross was helped on by Johan Gouffran and finished at the far post by an unmarked Ayosi Perez after exactly 1 minute, the fastest goal in the division so far this season. If Ipswich had barely touched the ball before conceding just their 10th league goal of the campaign, they soon got a bit more involved. After scoring for the first time in 6 games against Burton on Tuesday, they almost managed it again through former Magpie Leon Best. Not what Newcastle had in mind after such a flying start, and their frustration won't have eased when John Joe Shelby picked out Dwight Gale, who was upended by townkeeper Bartosz Białkowski. Referee James Adcock decided against a penalty and didn't want a debate about it. Instead, Newcastle didn't confirm the inevitable until the final 20 minutes. Matt Ritchie perking up one of his quieter displays for the Toon by picking out Perez for his 5th goal of the season. And once their 10th league win was in the bag, Newcastle could add a little finesse to the efficiency of their football. Roles reversed for Perez to tee up Ritchie for 3-0. Another step forward for Newcastle's manager, but his opposite number is already sure where they'll end up.
Yeah, they're the best side I've seen in this league, and if they don't win the Championship, then I'll be very surprised.
We have this confidence, the team is going forward, scoring goals and doing well. And if we can do this for a while, it will be much better and will be a guarantee for the future.
Failure to hold on to a 2-0 lead at Fulham in midweek had cost the Canaries leadership of the EFL. Their desire to make amends was demonstrated inside the opening 14 seconds. Here, Cameron Jerome threatening a first-minute goal. Preston's Chris Maxwell with a breathtaking save. North End haven't lost a game since he came into the side, and we're soon looking to add Norwich to their list of recent scalps. Jordan Hugill with a chance at the other end. In the second half, Alex Pritchard came close to an opener, but Norwich, like Huddersfield and Brighton in recent weeks, were to become the Lily Whites' latest victims. Alex Baptiste putting Preston ahead for the second time in 4 days. In a week where Alex Neil said Norwich needed to learn to win ugly, the Canaries were to lose in the most absorbing way imaginable. A combination of post and goalkeeper frustrated Cameron Jerome. And when Maxwell in goal was finally beaten by Pritchard's header, Bailey Wright was back on the goal line to ensure Preston's 4th win from their last 6 league matches.
We weren't their keeper, we're not parked the bus or anything like that and got a 1-0. We've defended when we've had to do. And when you do come to places like this, your goalkeeper has to make key saves and your defenders have to defend well. And we've done that today, so really pleased for them all today.
I will talk about Newcastle in just a moment. Mick McCarthy didn't appear to have enjoyed his day too much, did he? Preston, Mickey Gray, first of all, what a terrific run they are on, albeit assisted by some fairly dubious marking for the goal today, Norwich.
Yeah, it was. And I think you have to give a lot of credit to Simon and his players as well, the way they've turned the season around so early as well. I mean, you've seen the goal here from Alex Baptiste as well. Where's the marking from Norwich? If they're going to finish in the top 2, you've got to really sort things out the back, because, you know, they've got to stay nice and solid. We know they're going to get goals as well, but that's poor defending and a great win for Preston.
And this run that they are on, certainly when you look at the teams they've played in the last 3 games. Where does a run like that come from?
Well, I think, it's just confidence breeds confidence. You're looking for that first win, and Simon will have jumped on the back of that straight away with his players and told them how well he played. And then, basically, momentum takes you into the next game. You get the confidence, and the more it builds and builds and builds, the camaraderie, which I think is a massive thing in the Championship, just keeps growing and growing. And that's exactly what's happening with Preston right now. I saw them at the beginning of the season. I thought they might have struggled. But the way that they're playing at the minute, they can climb to the playoffs. There's no question. They've got plenty of games to do it.
Paul, Mick McCarthy looked like a boxer who'd just been battered for 12 rounds doing that interview. Newcastle didn't mess about today. They struck very, very early and then led from the front.
Yeah, and it makes it difficult. They did the same in the last home game against Brentford. 50-odd thousand fans, they get in front, they make more noise, and it can become a really difficult place to play.
And they show that they don't need Dwight Gale's goals. They've helped get them up there, but they didn't need those goals today.
No, well, they've got quality all over the team, haven't they? Whether that's attacking areas, wide players, central midfield players, the centre-backs are chipping in with goals. And they're just a really well-organised side with strength, power, and as you say, goal threat from all over the pitch.
They beat you in midweek. Are they the best team you've played, the best team you've seen in this league?
We threw everything at them, absolutely everything. They gave us nothing. And I think that's why, as Mick said, they'll be right up there. Anyone finishing above Newcastle will be in the Premier League next season. Right,
2 more matches for you now, starting with 3rd-placed Brighton and their trip to 2nd-bottom Wigan.
Wigan were adamant their league position's misleading after 3 successive encouraging draws. Glenn Murray and Shane Duffy vied to prove them wrong, with Brighton eyeing up 2nd spot ahead of Norwich's visit to the Amex next week. But the Latics did prove tough opponents. David Stockdale forced into a double stop from Nick Powell and Dan Burn, though the latter had been flagged offside. Chris Hughton admitted his promotion chasers never really found their rhythm. The flourishing partnership of Murray and Sam Baldock almost mustered up a goal before the break. Adam Bogdan denying Baldock his 4th goal in as many matches, before Albion's midfield strength in depth paid dividends midway through the second half. Dal Stephens attracted Premier League attention during the summer and again showed why after coming off the bench. The precision and power of that outstanding finish proved decisive for a team which has the best defensive record in the division. Last week's last-ditch Preston equaliser meant there'd still be some nerves, but former Wigan fullback Gaetan Bong snuffed out the Latics' last chance of earning a point their efforts probably deserved.
This was Operation Stop the Rot as far as Huddersfield were concerned. Successive league defeats, including a 3-1 loss at Preston this week, had begun to undermine an impressive start to the campaign. And here were Derby, unbeaten in 4 and making early inroads as Will Hughes came oh so close to capitalising on home nerves. But that's been Derby's problem this season, a lack of goals. Only 7 now in 14 matches, which explains their current predicament. Tom Ince, the latest to try his luck. In fairness, they were facing one of the meanest defences in the division, who did their job again, as Bradley Johnson went close. David Wagner's side had been fairly quiet themselves up front, but they did start to threaten, as Harry Bunn tried his luck from distance. In the end, Derby would succumb in the cruelest of circumstances. It was deep into injury time when Elias Kachunga produced his 4th league goal of the season. Cue bedlam at the John Smith Stadium, and even the manager got caught up in the moment. His foray onto the pitch meant he was sent to the stands, but these are exciting times at Huddersfield.
I'm one of the most ambitious person under the sun, maybe, but we all together have to be very humble, and we all together have to know where we are and where we come from.
We're changing things, and we're changing style, and it's not going to happen overnight. And one of the things is dealing with setbacks. Today's one. Very interested to see now how we prepare for the week for Sheffield Wednesday.
Mickey Gray, when you see a result like that one at Huddersfield today, what's your first reaction? Is it, oh, blimey, Derby, or, oh, wow, Huddersfield?
Well, I watched a lot of that today, and the tempo was absolutely incredible, from start to finish as well. But, yeah, I think you look at Derby, because they were up there as one of the favourites at the beginning of this season. They've got off to a slow start. This is why they've changed managers. Steve goes back in and has his 2nd turn there again. But I think overall, you have to say, brilliant performance from Huddersfield. And, you know, where's the fun in the game gone? You know, the manager's not allowed to celebrate with his players like that. I thought it was brilliant. You know, I love seeing stuff like that as well. Yes, it's a late goal.
Ever lost it, Paul, like this?
No, they got an even later one against us early on in the season, so I didn't have to see what David did then. But...
You think he's done, and then no, a bit more. Bit more. Tell you what, I've got a bit more here. A bit more, and yeah, I'll go and finish the match up there.
Brilliant. Honestly, I'd love to see things like that, and this is where referees, I think, go a little bit too far. Just go and say, look, don't run on the pitch. I know you've won last minute. Go back and sit down. Well, that was first class. 8
unbeaten for Brighton, absolutely flying. How realistic that they can trouble a Newcastle, a Norwich, or even a Huddersfield for those automatic places?
Very realistic. They've been up there the last few years. They were a very good side when we played them away as well. We were disappointed with how we played on that day, but watching the game back, Brighton were very strong all over the pitch. And as you say, they've got the experience of being up there and challenging all season, so I'm sure they'll be there or thereabouts again.
Absolutely going so well at the moment. On the way next, we're going to talk to Paul about Barnsley's clash that was at Brentford today, where the Tykes were looking for a first win in 7. Welcome back to Football on 5. Our next Sky Bet Championship action sees Bristol City take on Blackburn Rovers. Before the game, there was a minute's silence in honour of City legend Jerry Gow, who died recently from lung cancer at the age of 64. Your commentator for this one is Paul Walker.
Gallagher rising for this, but the commanding figure of Flint got there first. Here is Derek Williams, former Bristol City player. Spent 3 years as a Robin. Cleared away by Lenihan, and now Emnes. Sent forward by Conway. Six wins, 2 draws, 5 defeats. Is Bristol City's record so far. Corey Evans finding Emnes, doing well. Here's Marshall. Gets his shot away, took a deflection too. There is a new contract on the table for Ben Marshall, but the club are still waiting for him to make his decision. Conway pushes it on now to Emnes. Surrounded by red shirts, but he spins away from 2 of them. It's Emnes. Well, that was positive stuff from the Dutchman. He's got his team a corner. He's had some good moments in the game, Marvin Emnes. Taken short by Conway to Emnes. Maybe a better crossing angle now for Conway. Seen away by Magnussen. Flicked on by Hoban, and Magnussen again behind it. Sits up nicely here for Lenihan, always rising. Half a chance for the Irishman, unable to keep it down. Corey Smith. Patterson lifted into Abraham, scuff clearance from Hoban, drops kindly here, and curled over the top by Patterson. Couldn't keep it down. Does really well, shifts it back onto his right boot and balloons it over the top. Applause all around the ground. The club legend Jerry Gow. Gone but certainly not forgotten. This is Freeman. Freeman saying, who can I give it to? Give me an option. Matthews. Freeman. Now O'Neill. Freeman into Patterson.
Still Patterson! Terrific try. This looked as though it was heading for the top corner. Bryan giving straight to Corey Evans, who was no more than 5 yards away from him. Marshall. It's Ben Marshall for Blackburn! Excellent hits. And the fingertips of Frank Fielding keeps it at 0-0. Sent in by Conway. And Flint, a tower of strength again, able to clear. Tomlin being grappled with by Corey Evans. He takes the free kick quickly. Where's this one heading? Right in the direction of Aaron Wilbraham. Abraham goes down off the ball, but it's still with Aaron Wilbraham! Off the bench, Aaron Wilbraham surely wins it for Bristol City. It's been a long time in coming, but the Robins are roaring once again. Tomlin's free kick. Wilbraham had to do it himself. Took a deflection and it wrong-footed Jason Steele in the Blackburn goal. Harsh on them for the way that they battled in this match. But Bristol City appear to have won it, courtesy of the left boot of Aaron Wilbraham. Bristol City 1, Blackburn Rovers 0.
We've scored a lot of goals this year in the latter stages of games, and it's really important to do that. I think the quality on the bench is good. Obviously, we bring Wilbrahimovic on, and he manages to score the winner at the ripe old age of 37 after having his birthday yesterday. So delighted for him. And we have got people that can change the game, and we needed some energy, we needed some bright play, some experience as well. Chucked all that on, and the big man turned up and scored a great goal.
I did look for Tammy, to be fair, but I seen him get tripped over, so I knew it was just me then, so I just tried to be positive. I think that's the first time I've done a step over at the age of 37, so managed to see the ball go in the goal, so it was good.
We've had 2 losses, and it was really important to get a win there. And we worked very hard on the detail of the little 1% and the marginal gains, and I think accumulated, that's really helped us.
Not sure about Wilbrahimovic, would be a very expensive T-shirt print for Christmas. A word on your old club, Blackburn, who have, Mickey, been showing signs of improvement. Owen Cole felt they were unlucky today. Are you convinced that they might be heading in the right direction or not?
No, not at all. I think they make silly mistakes. I've seen them a couple of times this season, and I think the same happens too many times. If you make mistakes like that, you're going to get punished. Yes, they've had a little bit of a revival, but I can't see it. I think they're in a relegation fight, and they'll be praying that they stay in the Championship.
So not convinced at all about Blackburn Rovers. Lee Johnson, your old mate, your predecessor at Barnsley, what kind of job is he doing at Bristol City?
Yeah, good job, and they're turning into a big club now. You know, the investment that they've had at the football club, the infrastructure, the stadium, the squad now. There's investment all over the place, and they're really gearing themselves up for an assault on this league.
What was it like for you when he left Barnsley?
It was strange, wasn't it? Because we turned a corner. Sort of this time last season, we were bottom of the league. We'd just been on a cup run, and Jono's last game was actually the semi-final when we beat Fleetwood. So it's not often that you see that, but the draw was Bristol City. It was sort of his club. I think he came out and said, "This is my Real Madrid." You know, he's really pleased to be there, working his socks off while he's there. And like I say, with the sort of investment that's been put into the football club, playing staff, coaching staff, and the infrastructure, then, you know, he thinks that they're really going places.
And you play them next. Be honest, what kind of reception will he get? How warm will it be, or otherwise?
Frosty. I won't say warm. Yeah, probably frosty. Yeah.
Well, let's have a look at what form you will take into that game next, because you were at Brentford today, who were on a 10-match unbeaten home run. How did that shape your approach to the game, the form that Brentford were in at home?
Yeah, it was more us. We'd been playing pretty well. Performances were not bad. However, we'd been making mistakes and been punished for poor decision-making, and that's where all our goals against were coming from. So we really focused on that this week.
A couple of early chances at a piece. You were almost punished here.
Yeah, there were lots of half chances early on in the game. Nothing really clear. You could see it's sort of spilling about. And to be fair, our first goal was a half chance as well. Adam Armstrong ends up putting it in. It's a good header from Sam Winnell.
Well, here it is. How good is he?
Half chance, sharp, and that's what he does. And we'd already had a couple like that where we'd not really worked the keeper or it had gone straight at Bentley. And then this is the second goal. Been working a lot with Ryan Kent on his combination play into the front men. He does it, hits the post, and then rolls reversed. It's Sam Winnell who's the poacher's goal, taps it in. You like scoring in the second half, don't you? 19 of your 25, I think, have come after half-time. Any idea why that is? No, and I'm not stats when you're throwing all these stats at me, and I'm not got a clue.
I thought you'd take credit for having high fitness levels, isn't it?
Yeah, listen, they're fit, they work hard, and we're always pushing right to the very end.
I was just saying, what's the difference, Paul, from being a coach now you're a manager in the hot seat? Have you had to change what you do?
Yeah, so obviously you have to put your stamp on the team, and it's been a big difference coming up into the Championship. Like I said, it's been a steep learning curve for us as staff, and particularly for the players. We only had 2 players who played in the Champ before this season, so you can imagine that it's a step up for them, but they've acquitted themselves very well, and everybody wants to do well. Everyone's working hard to keep winning games.
And Brentford kept going till the end, as we've seen with these very late chances. You came in here earlier and said, oh, they were tough. They were really tough.
Yeah, and so everyone played the part for us from 1 to 11. Dave makes a good save there. He'd already been out and smothered one, so, you know, 1 to 11, the 3 subs come on and make a difference for us, so it's really important.
Well, we've had your thoughts. What about Dean Smith? Let's have a listen to what he had to say after the game.
Very frustrating, you know, we've helped them to score. With one of the few chances they've had, we've headed it back down to them and the lads miskicked it and it's gone in. And we've lost a game where we've had a lot of possession, a lot of chances, and you know, on another day we win it, but it's not to be today.
That's why we love football. Managers see it completely differently. Dean feels the best team lost today. What was your view of it?
No, we're really pleased with how we performed. We know it's a tough place to go, do you know what I mean? The good side like to dominate the ball, and we were set up to cope with that. We worked hard on defending all areas of the pitch, either from the high press, mid-third, defensive third, and we had spells where we passed the ball well as well today. So, yeah, we're delighted with how we played, and the clean sheet's probably the most pleasing thing.
Give us an insight, if you can, into how you make it work at Barnsley. You have one of the lowest budgets, you have one of the youngest squads. What type of job is it for you to be the manager of this team?
It's a great job, and what we try and emphasise is that everyone has to get better. That's the staff, everything. Everyone's there, turning up every day to work really hard to improve. We're taking players from the lower leagues or players who's not really established yet, but they have to come with the hunger and the drive to succeed. We're there to support them every step of the way and keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And hopefully some will go beyond us and go on and get big moves. But our aim is to get all the players to work with us, and just as we did last season, help us achieve success.
Well, well done today. I'm really looking forward to that game against your old mate and Bristol City as well next time. On the way after the break, Kenny Jackett is the new man in charge at Rotherham, but would he bring a change in fortunes for the Championship's bottom side? This is Football on 5, and Friday night's match next in the Sky Bet Championship. That saw Gary Rowett take his Birmingham City team back to the club where he helped lay the foundations for the back-to-back promotions which saw Burton Albion reach the Championship for the first time in their history. Your commentators here are Andy Hinchcliffe and Daniel Mann.
Palmer. On now for Dyer. Advantage played because Palmer was clipped. Well, through the challenges he goes. It's brilliant work! And it's another chance for Ward, and a distinctly better one this time.
I just wondered, does Jamie Ward go at this with his wrong foot? Should he let it come across his body and just guide it? I do think Jamie Ward's gone at that with his wrong foot.
Well, here's something you don't often see. Two mates stopping for a chat. Oh, and here's a chance, which is taken by Dyer. Well, it's been on the cards. And it is the former Birmingham man who strikes for Burton.
Well, it's a wonderfully controlled finish as well. When you're moving at pace and you come onto the ball like this, very hard just to nudge it over a goalkeeper. That is a sublime finish. Nothing more than Burton deserved for the last 15 minutes' work.
Dyer. Into Naylor, Ward, Oh, and Morrison's in trouble. Oh, and Akins could not convert what was a very presentable chance.
Well, he missed a golden chance in midweek at Ipswich, and this is from a similar position, really. Complete disarray at the back from Birmingham. Oh, Lucas Akins should be burying this.
Shotton's underneath this. That's Brayford. Well, it's going to drop kindly for Ward here, who's onside! And surely finishes the game! It's another major scalp by the look of it. And Jamie Ward, the Villa fan, will really have relished taking that opportunity.
Well, just like Lloyd Dyer, Jamie Ward absolutely deserves his goal. It's not the cleanest strike you'll ever see. It is right at the goalkeeper, goes through the keeper more than anything else. Well, his work rate, his intelligence really has paid off, and that could be game over.
Well, Jonathan Grounds is still having the debate possibly about whether Jamie Ward was on or offside when he took that opportunity to make it 2-0. Stewart's delivery is a very good one. Oh, and it's Michael Morrison. Who knows what a chance that was.
But you've got to be scoring from here. Has a good clear view of it. At the very least hit the target if you do your score, and Birmingham are back in it.
I think Burton thoroughly deserved to beat us, and I've got absolutely no complaints about that. But a couple of key moments, I think the offside for the second goal, I think by scoring the second goal, it then takes the game away from us. And I think at 1-0, you know, you've always got an opportunity to get back into the game. So I was disappointed without the one real key decision that, you know, the officials got wrong.
Very decent assessment, actually, I thought, from Gary Rowett there. We'll have a look at the goals, Mickey, in just a moment, and give Burton the credit they deserve for that. But how bad were Birmingham?
Yeah, I think the defending was really poor. It was nice to see the honesty of Gary Rowett there as well, to say he didn't deserve anything out of the game, but he has got a point with the second goal. After seeing it a couple of times myself as well, but take nothing away from what Burton have achieved. You know, I think if you look at their home form as well, they're actually in the top 10, take away their away form as well, so they're very difficult to beat at home. I think three sides of the stand as well are all standing as well, so it stokes up a little bit of atmosphere there as well.
Well, here are
I think it's just you know, the way that they get through the back four of Birmingham is really, really poor. You know, Lloyd, it's a great finish, by the way, outside of his boot. Wonderful finish. So
and this was the one that angered Gary Rowett. The officials and our commentator in real time called it that it was on. We think it was probably off.
Well, it's difficult to see because it's such a long header. I mean, a powerful header, but Jamie Ward just goes a couple of inches before. He's probably half a yard offside, but you can't take anything away from it. It was a great finish, and overall a really good performance from Nigel and his players.
How competitive, Paul, can Burton be at this level, do you think?
Well, they're being competitive. We obviously followed them up last season, so very similar to us, unknown territory. First time the club has been in the second tier, and they're performing well. And they've got some big players, some players with experience who's played in this league and higher, which I think is important for them. And they've got a way of playing which, as Mickey said, at home is proving really difficult for all the Championship clubs.
OK, right, let's see some more goals. 4 more games as well now, starting with the bottom club Rotherham, who sacked Alan Stubbs on Wednesday, the 4th Championship boss to lose his job this season so far. 2 days later, they appointed last Saturday's Football on 5 guest, Kenny Jackett, on a 3-year contract, making him their 5th manager in just 14 months.
Could the new man succeed where his 3 immediate predecessors failed and win his first game in charge? The early signs were good. Joe Newell forcing a save from Ali Al-Habsi. There was plenty of improvement here from the Millers, but the ball just wouldn't go in. Greg Halford denied this time. It was a similar story after the break. Richard Wood, another man dashed by the apparently unbeatable Al-Habsi. Not that the Reading stopper was the only one making saves here. The Royals were awarded a penalty in the second half when Jerry van der Berg was brought down. Nobody has had a hand in more Reading goals this season than Gareth McCleary, but Lee Camp prevented this one. After that, and another narrow escape when John Swift sent one onto the crossbar, Rotherham might have settled for simply ending their losing run. But luck was about to desert them. 86 minutes on the clock when, despite the best efforts of Camp, Paul McShane gave Reading victory and confirmed the Millers' worst league run in 54 years.
myself and the players were disappointed with the result. We understand that it was a late goal, but there was a big effort by the players today and a lot of commitment. In some situations, some naivety, but we can work on that. But we created a lot of chances, and I felt deserved a goal or two.
QPR arrived in South Yorkshire unbeaten in 5 and full of bright ideas, especially Jaron Sherry, who brought the best out of Cameron Dawson all afternoon. Sherry is having a super season for QPR, but goal number 5 of the campaign would elude him, although it wasn't for the want of trying. Wednesday too are in decent form with just 1 defeat in their last 5, and Daniel Pudel came mighty close to enhancing that record. But if the home side felt Lady Luck had deserted them on that occasion, she returned with a vengeance shortly afterwards, wearing the blue and white of Wednesday. The drive of David Jones actually found the face of Gary Hooper before those reliable goal-scoring boots did the rest. Rangers were undeterred though and threw everything at their hosts. Nedum Anua tried his luck, as did several of his teammates, and still the Wednesday line would not be breached. Sherry did give it one more throw of the Rangers' dice, but on the one occasion that Dawson looked to be beaten, there was Tom Lees and a clutch of colleagues to save the day and deliver another 3 points.
After 4 points from Steve Bruce's first 2 games, Aston Villa were casting long-distance glances towards the top 6 instead of fearing the bottom 3. Jonathan Kodjia's form fuelling a shift in the mood. But the home crowd's optimism began to flag after that early effort as Fulham made inroads too. Shawnee Aluko shrugging off Alan Hutton to make sure Pierluigi Golini was alert. While the Londoners saw more of the ball, Villa used it better. Jordan Ayew, a midweek match winner against Reading, testing David Burton after the break, before a mistake by the keeper straight from the Claudio Bravo school. The clearance direct to Albert Adoma, and Burton couldn't get back in time to prevent Kodjia's 3rd goal in the space of a fruitful week. Villa remain closer to the relegation zone than the playoff places, but had a spring in their step that's been missing for a long time. Released by Fulham old boy Ross McCormack, Ayew was annoyed not to have increased the lead. The bigger picture, though, was back-to-back Villa wins for the first time since the season before last. Kodjia and then Adoma couldn't put the icing on the cake, but at least there's a cake these days.
Big club like this takes some turning round, so I'm delighted to get the opportunity. It's a wonderful football club, and if I can get it turned round, then we all know what it's capable of.
The last 3 league meetings at Molineux had averaged more than 5 goals a game, but the current vintage of both these great old clubs is a little short of confidence and form. Leeds should have led when Hadi Sakho set off, but he could only clip the crossbar. And a minute later, Wolves had their first decent chance, which managed to sum up the general air of desperation. All a bit of a scramble before João Teixeira managed to hit Robert Green. After 1 win in their last 8 games between them, it was clear that any route to 3 points would do for these sides. But Teixeira found a bit of space before the break, only for Charlie Taylor to beat Helder Costa to the punch. And when the winner came, it was typically scrappy. Sakho's delivery might have produced Kemar Roof's first goal for Leeds if Wolves defender Silvio hadn't got there first. Not for the first time this season, Gary Monk's side had conceded a late equaliser to Wigan in midweek, so they weren't ready to relax. Chris Wood really should have made sure, and Leeds almost paid a heavy price. In the last minute, Ola John found Costa, who snatched at his moment of glory. Ball in the stand and head in hands for Walter Zenga's men.
We defended exceptionally well. I think they only had 1 shot on our goal in terms of on target today, so to come away from home and concede only that, keep a clean sheet and get 3 points, very good for my team.
And he was straight on social media, Gary Monk, after that game to thank Leeds United fans for their good run. Aston Villa on a good run as well, good week at least.
Yeah, brilliant.
Mickey, under Steve Bruce, 2 wins and a draw. And Jonathan Kodjia scored in every game that Bruce has managed at Villa so far.
3 games, which is great, so he's certainly playing the next game.
Helped a little bit by the keeper.
Look, how many mistakes we've seen by keepers over this weekend. It's incredible, isn't it? But I have to say, great ball into the box, and that still needed finishing. That's a great finish, man in form, full of confidence, and again, listen, if you get it right at that football club, absolutely massive. So, I'm really pleased with Steve. He's got off to a real good start.
Are you expecting Villa to continue their rise now that Steve Bruce is there?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, they paid good money for Kodjia, but they've got some other talented players there as well, and they've got the sort of personnel there that even if they're not playing well, they can produce a goal out of nothing, and I'd expect them to keep climbing up the league now. It's going to be a tough place to go, especially if they do continue on this run, and I've been to Villa Park a couple of times this season anyway, and the atmosphere has been fantastic. You know, the fans are desperate for him to do well this season. Our
new manager, Mickey, at Rotherham, but our old mate Kenny couldn't make it a different story for them.
No, look, if you want a job, come and sit on this sofa, eh? That's the way it works. But, it was a shame for him, because I think, you know, they started the game pretty well, didn't they? But unfortunately, couldn't just hang on, maybe just to get a draw, which would be nice for him when his first game in charge. But I'm sure with his experience, he's got time to turn that around.
The interesting thing I thought from Kenny being with us, Paul, last week was when I asked him about what he would look for in a club next. He said, one, that he's underachieving and where he sees he can go in and make an immediate impact. Would Rotherham fit both of those bills?
Yeah, well, he obviously thinks so. And I would have thought, looking from the outside, with Alan Stubbs not getting much time, the probably powers that be at the football club think so as well. Do you know what I mean? Because they've been swift in making a change. So if they're both thinking the same way, then that's it. That's why they made the change.
It's a big job for him, but he would have known that when he took it. Right, stay with us for more action from the Sky Bet Championship. We will be at the City Ground, Nottingham, where Neil Warnock's Cardiff were looking to continue their recent revival. Welcome back. You're watching highlights from the Sky Bet Championship on Football on 5. Our final match is the clash between Nottingham Forest and Cardiff. Neil Warnock says he was turned down for the vacancy at the City Ground in the summer. Philippe Montagnier got the job instead. Commentary of this one from Danny Higginbottom and Gary Weaver.
Nottingham Forest, proud past, turbulent present, uncertain future. An owner looking to sell, a section of fans who are happy to wave him off, others concerned about what the future may bring here. Lansbury looking for Dimitru, dealt with by Gunnarsson, and Ricky Lambert will have to stretch if he wants to get to it, but stretch he did, and Rawls is away here. Stojkovic thought about coming. Rawls, big chance for Cardiff City, a chance which is not taken. Nottingham Forest left wide open, but they're off the hook.
It's so poor defending. Both the centre-backs taken out of the game. And then Rawls makes the run. You know, he'll be disappointed. He's always got too much time to think about it. It was that final touch with his left foot before he wanted to put it in. But that really should be 1-0.
Henry Lansbury fancied his chances, and why not? Amos was worried.
It's a good strike. It's the way it just bounced up in front of the keeper as well. You can see Amos was a little bit worried about it.
Cardiff City have steadied their feet after plummeting out of control down the championship table. And Rawls did well to squeeze that ball back from the tightest of spots.
He did really well. Puts a fantastic ball on as well. Lambert just can't get on the end of it.
Whittingham takes that set piece. It's a free header. And it's Aaron Gunnarsson who met it. Stojkovic couldn't keep it out. And Nottingham Forest undone from a set piece. Not for the first time this season.
It's far too easy. Lam is only interested in Gunnarsson. He's not really watching the ball. Just got his hands on him, and then he takes his eyes off the player completely. Gunnarsson mustn't have believed his luck. I can say that's something that, from Neil Warnock's point of view, he'll be delighted. He will have been working on that all week.
The fans on the whole have taken to Neil Warnock. He did look at what the online reaction was to his appointment and was blown away by the support he's had. Pilkington. Junior Hoylett trying to get in behind Perkis. Drury back on the day job there. Defending, but he's lost out. And Stojkovic down low at his near post, but Stojkovic can't get to the follow-up from Rawls. Now the turbulent week off the pitch for Nottingham Forest has just got a whole lot worse on it.
Once again, it's poor defending. You think Traore now, just clear your lines. And he doesn't, and then he's out of the game. He's not offside because Traore is obviously playing him onside. The initial touch from Pilkington, and then Rawls, who we've talked about getting forward from midfield, is there to put the finishing touches on it. And there's arguments whether this was a studs-up challenge. I don't think there was really too much in it.
Lansbury. Forest need that man on the ball more, Henry Lansbury, who can make things happen. Kasami and Ben Amos getting down to it, and helped out by Whittingham.
It was a tough one for Amos. Doesn't want to take any chance, and he tries to get it out of harm's way, and you just see with his left hand, puts it towards Whittingham.
Well, that's carried all the way through to Pilkington. It's Anthony Pilkington who had a chance to really seal the game, and he doesn't take it.
Another good opportunity, and one thing where you just look again, there shouldn't really be any problems there defensively, but in my mind, looking at Nottingham Forest, they play a very high line, and they are asking for problems. They're leaving a huge amount of space in behind that back four.
Well, there's trouble there for Lamb, who's given it away, and he could be off for this. Pilkington hauled to the ground, and the referee shows the red card. It's just getting worse and worse for Nottingham Forest.
Like the 2 goals they've conceded, once again creating their own problems.
He just cannot give this game up. He's addicted. He may have retired a handful of times, but he can never fully walk away. And he wants this record-breaking 8th promotion to move out in front of Dave Bassett and Graham Taylor. Launched in by Aaron Gunnarsson. Morrison, the inevitable target, and Stojkovic gets to it. Another long throw, causing problems.
Morrison's gone forward this time from centre-half. It ends up being a good save.
Kasami, Velios. The referee was happy with the challenge, and Pilkington is away here. Anthony Pilkington away from Stojkovic. Brilliant block on the line. Pilkington misses it. How did that happen? Still, somehow, Nottingham Forest are in this game, thanks to that man there, Chris Cohen.
And he thinks he's done everything here, and even then the follow-up hits wide.
Lansbury, Gunnarsson out there to greet him. Now there may be a way through, not for long though. Kasami denied, and the referee has a look at that. Gunnarsson with a challenge, and Nottingham Forest with a late penalty.
You can see Lansbury, he gets there before him. You can see why it has been given, because he has got there before Gunnarsson.
Lansbury against Amos. Lansbury scores.
Good penalty from Lansbury. Very cool, very calm and confident.
We were playing okay the games before he come, but it was just the result wasn't going our way, and we were low on confidence, and he wanted sort of to pick the lads up again, and he's done the right thing, and it shows during this game.
At least we've got a week without a game now, next couple of weeks, and we need that. We've trained hard, and now we've got the result. It's a great result for us, let's be fair, and no more than we deserved.
Started well the game. We conceded a goal in the set pieces in the corner. It's football, but after you have 2 individual mistakes, and after it's difficult to keep a good level with this.
Now, the Pilkington family will be pleased to know we're not going to see that miss again. We're going to focus instead on some nightmare first-half defending that really was the undoing of Nottingham Forest.
It was, yeah. There's a couple of occasions, even second half, where you just want the defenders to deal with the danger. Everyone would want the team to play out from the back, keep possession of the ball, but sometimes you just got to deal with the danger.
Does this kind of thing in the corner flag drive you as a manager mad?
It would do, yeah, but you see it every game, and you see instances where he'd play it off him, win the throw-in, and everybody cheers. So you've got to, take both sides of the coin.
7 points out of 9 for Neil Warnock, who says he was turned down. He was turned down by Forest in the summer. Do you think Forest may regret that?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, he just does the magic in the Championship, and he's done it for many years. And I think Cardiff have got themselves a real coup. You brought somebody in with that experience, bringing out just a little bit better in the players. And you just heard from a few of them there saying they were playing well, but not getting the results. Now they've turned those performances into results, and they're climbing out the bottom 3, George, and that's what they need to do.
Right, let's have a look at the table. Here we go. Rotherham stay bottom. They've now lost their last 7 league games. Wigan are 5 points above the Millers. Blackburn have fallen back into that drop zone. At the other end, Newcastle 3 points clear at the top. It's Brighton and Huddersfield who lead the chasing pack in 2nd and 3rd. Norwich slipped to 4th. Sheffield Wednesday are 3 points further back in 5th, and Bristol City complete that top 6. Stay with us for Goal Rush from Sky Bet Leagues 1 and 2, starting with an absolute cracker of a local derby between promotion-chasing Bradford and Sheffield United. Welcome to Goal Rush on Football on 5 and the big game in Sky Bet League One. Well, it was at second place Bradford, whose unbeaten start to the season came to an end at Oxford last weekend. Today, they faced in-form Sheffield United, whose last 9 games have seen 7 wins, 2 draws and 19 goals scored.
A Yorkshire derby between promotion hopefuls which really lived up to its billing as Sheffield United travelled to Bradford City, where Billy Sharp delighted in giving the Blades an 18th minute lead. But this was to be one of those games with plenty of twists and turns, with the Bantams drawing level on 35 minutes. Billy Clark, who'd once briefly played for Sheffield United, popping up at the far post to convert Matt Kilgallen's tempting cross. And Sharp wasn't finished for the day. The self-styled fat lad from Sheffield put the visitors back in front 6 minutes after the interval. Sharp's hitting a rich vein of form. This not only his 9th of the season, it's also his 4th from his last 2 matches. Back came a Bradford side not in the best of form. A surprise reverse at Oxford United was followed by a home draw with Southend. Defeat would have seen them overtaken by their rivals. So it was a sense of relief all round as the home side kept the pressure on following a corner. And with United stretched, Geordie Hiwula kept a cool head for his 3rd league goal of the campaign. The balance of power now tipped in the direction of West Yorkshire. Having pulled themselves level twice, Bradford City took the lead for the first time on 68 minutes. And a first league goal in Bradford colours for Timothy Dieng with a delightful first-time touch. City's lead didn't last long though, just 4 minutes to be exact. Chris Basham on hand to make sure Sheffield United extended their impressive run to 10 league matches unbeaten. But even then the drama wasn't quite over, with Bradford almost snatching a late winner through Hiwula. Honours even then, and on the balance of play, both sides will probably think this is a point gained rather than 2 points lost.
It was a pleasure to be involved in it. You know, I thought it was 2 outstanding teams. Listen, there's no doubt about it. If anyone, I think, finishes above Sheffield United will get promoted. I thought they were terrific. But we went toe-to-toe with them, and I thought it was, as you say, a real proper game of football.
A terrific game and a fabulous crowd as well. Just under 21,000 were treated to that 6th goal thriller in the derby. Billy Sharp scored another 2, 4 in 5 days, Mickey, for him. Could he perhaps still play a higher level?
Yeah, just off camera I was saying to Paul, you know, would he actually go for somebody like that? You know, if he was a bit younger, and he was saying, yeah, too right, you know, any goal scorer you can get is absolutely brilliant. But this is what he's done throughout his career. He goes around, he gets in the right places, and he certainly puts in the back of the net. He's a really good player.
You played for Bradford under Stuart McCall. Yeah. Could he get Bradford out of this league, do you think?
Yeah, I really hope so, because great guy, good club. And he loves the club as well, and the club's got a real affection for him. So they're probably 2 of the biggest clubs, you know, in League One, with all due respect to everyone else. And when you're getting crowds like that as well, they're set up for some success. And I really do hope that, you know, he's the one who brings it for them.
Great game today anyway. Our next stop is the Proact Stadium, where a Chesterfield side without a goal or a point, actually, in their last 3 games, they hosted the leaders, Scunthorpe United.
Scunthorpe are top, thanks in no small part to the highest scorer in English League football, Josh Morris. That's 13 for him. Chesterfield have managed just 3 more between them. The Spyrites only have 1 point from their last 5 games. Danny Wilson wants more positive energy from the crowd. Difficult when his players are giving Kevin Van Veen that much room. The last time the Iron lost a league game, they won the next one 4-0. So Chesterfield will have been fearing the worst when Sam Mantham scored his first for the club. Small mercies, it stayed 3-0. Scunthorpe stretched their lead to 5 points.
As Coventry supporter groups held protests outside the Ricoh Arena, the Sky Blues were staging their own day of action inside it. Dan Ajay struck the post as Coventry continued their resurgence under interim manager Mark Venus. This week he was asked to remain in charge until January. If this run continues, Venus might get the job permanently. Ajay's eventual opener paved the way for the Sky Blues' 3rd win from 4 matches, and beating Rochdale too, who until this week had won 7 games in a row. At last, some days to savour for Coventry, for whom Andre Wright confirmed victory late in the game, and back-to-back victories for the first time this season.
Port Vale brought in experienced Premier League defender Ryan Taylor on a short-term deal this week. The one-time Hull, Newcastle and Wigan player brings experience Vale currently lack. But it didn't do them much good early on against Oxford, as Shade Dunkley was left all on his own to convert his first goal of the campaign. That was after only 11 minutes, and shortly afterwards Danny Crowley added his second in as many matches. It's been quite a few days for the teenager, who'd opened his league account just 5 days earlier, but it was Taylor who left his mark on the second 45 minutes. His free kick was nodded down into the path of Regino Sicilia, who showed excellent balance to stab home his first goal in English football. And the big man from Curaçao, who stands a fraction under 6'6", then used his size to pressurise Curtis Nelson into committing a foul in the box. The stage, of course, was set for Taylor, and the 18th signing of manager Bruno Ribeiro's tenure may prove to be a vital one. Taylor's penalty kick was perfection, calm and assured. The veteran boasts qualities which may keep him in the Potteries long after his short-term deal expires, as Vale look to maintain their position among the promotion hopefuls.
AFC Wimbledon have only lost once since mid-August, and they were looking good yet again when John Meads and Tom Elliott combined to set them on their way. It's all a very different story for Peterborough, who find themselves heading in the other direction. Just 2 wins for them in their last 11 in all competitions, and they had to rely on the post to keep Elliott out again. In fact, the Wimbledon striker probably spent most of the journey home wondering how he didn't add to his tally. He did everything right here except find the net, but 1 goal was all that was required to extend their unbeaten run.
Rovers boss Darrell Clarke described Tuesday's late comeback to snatch a draw at MK Dons as below par and rang the changes for this game. The decision to include Chelsea loanee Charlie Colgert paid off midway through the first half. With that, Rovers were heading for a 5th league game unbeaten, and Oldham back to earth after their midweek win over Scunthorpe. Another corner and another player borrowed from the bridge wrapped it up. Substitute Jake Clark-Salter with the header 3 minutes from time.
Next to Shrewsbury, who hope to have a new manager in place before today's visit of Northampton. But negotiations to prize Paul Hurst from Grimsby Town are still ongoing. Of more immediate concern was to try to get some points to move off the foot of the table.
Not much to smile about for Shrews fans right now. Hammered at home by Sheffield United this week, and a goal down here thanks to Gabriel Zakuani. In fact, it didn't take too long for Northampton to make it 2. The Shrews defence guilty of being a little too casual at the back, and no one spotted Paul Anderson lurking with intent. That roused the home side into action, and they responded with a penalty when a Zakuani challenge on Ivan Toney was deemed to be a little too robust. The former Northampton man picking himself up to show his old club exactly what they were missing. But if there was any doubt about the destination of all 3 points, it disappeared midway through the second half when Sam Hoskins produced his first goal since mid-April, which was definitely worth the wait. That inspired his teammates to have a go from distance, most notably Anderson, who'll try and claim a second of the contest, although Shrews keeper Jason Leutweiler played an unwitting part. The home side did at least have the consolation of the final word when Junior Brown was brought down in the area. Toney doubled his tally for the afternoon in fairly emphatic fashion, but with 1 win in 11, including 4 successive defeats, the Shrews need a new manager in place, and fast.
Both these clubs are finding wins hard to come by, 1 apiece in their previous 9 league games. So when Paul Konchesky crossed for Bradley Dack, the ripple of the net meant there was some relief around Priestfield, though perhaps not as much as in the second half once Ryan Jackson had been judged to have fouled Frederick Olverstad. The penalty pitted the Gills substitute keeper Stuart Nelson against Ricky Holmes. And Nelson's fine save was the high point of his man-of-the-match display after replacing the injured Jonathan Bond. But in stoppage time, Chris Hurd's handball allowed Charlton to salvage a 5th successive away draw for the first time since 1938. Nicky Ajose leaving the Gills frustrated again. That's 18 points they've blown from winning positions.
MK Dons' home record makes awful reading. Without a league win at Stadium MK since March, and against Southend, there for the taking after only 2 minutes. Simon Cox putting the Shrimpers ahead. The Dons had only just started to impose themselves on the game when they fell 2 behind. Anthony Wordsworth continuing his fine run in front of goal. His double here confirmed MK Dons' heaviest defeat of the season and prompted an emotive statement from Carl Robinson that sounded very much like a farewell after more than 6 years in charge of the club.
A run of 5 defeats in 6 had left Millwall ahead of the drop zone on goal difference only. But when Ashley Easton brought down Fred Onyedinma, they'd have the chance to take the lead. Lee Gregory duly converted. It's 2 months since Millwall have managed to win a league game at home, and they'd be helped again by clumsy Fleetwood defending. Referee Carl Boyson spotting Nathan Pond bringing down Byron Webster. Again Gregory, that's 6 for him this campaign. But Fleetwood are the only League One side to have scored in every game this season, and they kept that run going with this stunning strike from Ashley Hunter. Millwall held on, they have that home win and some blue sky between them and the bottom 4.
Any debate about the individual performance of the day in the EFL should be settled in the next 40 seconds or so. It's not Swindon defender Darnell Furlong whose misplaced pass allowed Erhan Oztumer to do this. A sublime strike that knocked the stuffing out of the home side and a real goal of the season contender. Except that arguably it wasn't even the best goal in this game. Early in the second half, Kevin Toner's punt forward was guided into the net on the volley by Oztumer for his 7th of the season and Walsall's first away league win. He usually laughs off his nickname of the Turkish Messi. Perhaps he shouldn't.
Wow, what a couple of goals they were. Here's the table, and that result sees Swindon drop to 20th. Shrewsbury remain at the foot of the table, 2 points adrift of Chesterfield. Oldham dropped to 22nd. Coventry are now just a point from safety. Scunthorpe extend their lead over Bradford at the top to 5 points. Sheffield United are up to 3rd. Bolton are 4th. And 2 of last season's promoted teams, Bristol Rovers and AFC Wimbledon, find themselves in the playoff places. Now, we mentioned in that MK Dons highlights the comments made by Carl Robinson after the game. Let's show you what he has had to say, and it does sound fairly terminal, doesn't it? It's a decision for the chairman. He says, not for me. I won't walk away, but if it is to be, I want to say thank you to everybody who supported me over 7.5 years. 13 winless in the league now at home, Mickey Gray. They've conceded 30. That sounds... We know he's a guy who wears his heart on his sleeve, but that sounds like goodbye.
It does, yeah. I think, you know, after what happened to them last season as well, everybody probably wanted them to bounce straight back, and when that doesn't happen, you find yourself under a lot of pressure. I know he's been at the club for a while, but it certainly sounds as if he wants to see everybody at the club to say farewell, but we're not going to know that maybe until the next couple of days, but time will tell.
We'll see Grimsby in just a moment. Their boss, Paul Hurst, we're told, didn't do the post-match media today. We know Shrewsbury have made an approach for his services. Does that sound to you like he might be on his way as well?
Could do, yeah. Usually you put 2 and 2 together and you're never far away in circumstances like this, and he's done a great job at Grimsby, so I would have thought there's plenty of suitors for him, but that's for the 2 clubs to sort out, I think, before anyone will know, and then Paul's speaking to Shrewsbury.
Well, we've got plenty more goals to show you. Stay with us. All the League 2 action is on the way, coming up next, including Exeter's attempt to end their horrible home run, which gets off to the worst possible start. Welcome back. This is Goal Rush on Football and 5, and our Sky Bet League 2 action starts with Carlisle, who were the only team in the whole EFL yet to lose. They equalled a club record 13 matches unbeaten at the start of the season last Saturday. They were hoping to break it today at Stevenage.
With their hearts set on making history, Carlisle's start was ideal. Tom Miller's almighty throw caused utter chaos in the Stevenage box, Jason Kennedy forcing the ball home, before Miller's hands made a less helpful contribution when he tugged on Charlie Lee's shirt. The innocent expression cut no ice with referee Nicholas Kinsley, and Matt Godden made the penalty count. Carlisle, though, weren't cursing the officials after the break. When Michael Raines crumpled under the weight of the home side's determined resistance, Danny Granger's fifth of a season consolidated Carlisle's automatic promotion spot and made that club record unbeaten start secure.
The football staff can take a lot of pride and a lot of credit. There's a lot of hard work that goes in behind the scenes, not only for myself and my staff and the players, but the staff of the football club.
A minute's silence at Rodney Parade to mark the 50th anniversary of the Aberfan disaster. When play got underway in this top versus bottom encounter, Newport were in trouble after only 36 minutes. Keeper Joe Day fouling Jordan Slew, sent off on his 100th county appearance. Goalkeeper coach James Bittner stepped in for his Newport debut against his former club, having not played competitively in almost a year. His first job was to retrieve Graham Carey's spot kick. John Parkin has had his critics, but the man they call the Beast has always known where the goal is, and there won't be many strikes better than this one all season. Newport level 5 minutes into the second half, and the 10 men on top. But 5 minutes later, they were caught on the counter. Darren Jones bringing down Carey. A second penalty for the visitors. Same penalty taker, same keeper, same result. And that was effectively Newport's resilience broken. Plymouth added a third 12 minutes from time. Carey, the provider this time, Slew with the tap-in. No shortage of passion from County, but the Exiles are adrift at the foot of the table. At the other end, Argyle are 4 points clear.
After his side conceded twice in the final 5 minutes to lose at Accrington last Saturday, Blackpool manager Gary Bowyer cancelled their day off this week, which might explain Andy Taylor's rather tired attempt to deal with James Coppinger's cross. That was after just 40 seconds, and it set the tone for a game which frequently combined the sublime and the ridiculous. Witness the Rovers' defence all nodding off at once before the free kick from which Brad Potts fired Blackpool level. And the goal that gave the home side a half-time lead owed just as much to the defensive frailties of the visitors. Danny Pugh's cross finding its way to Kelvin Mellor, who was able to loop it back over Marco Morosi and the Rovers' goal. But there was nothing remotely comical about the strike that justified Bowyer's hardline approach just after the break. Potts with a thunderbolt to edge Blackpool towards only their second win in 8 league games. And a minute later, they seemed home and dry. Kyle Vassell finding space to run and room to beat Morosi from the edge of the area. After 4 games without defeat, Rovers were reeling, but the chaotic nature of the game meant a comeback was still possible, especially when Tommy Rowe's persistence earned them a harsh-looking penalty for Jack Payne's challenge. Rowe converted the spot kick. And then with 5 minutes left, he had the chance to give the game the edgy finale it probably deserved. Blackpool keeper Sam Slocum fouled John Marquis. But from Rowe's second penalty, the keeper redeemed himself. So no late slip-ups from Blackpool this time. They'll be expecting a day off this week.
Thumbs up emojis for Adam Murray, who this week banned phones at Mansfield during working hours. And focus Matt Green, who got an 8th of the season at Luton. But the Hatters hit back. Cameron McGeehan's equaliser, provoking a smiley face from Luton boss Nathan Jones.
Portsmouth have won all but one of their last 5 home games, an identical record on the road for the Magpies, and they took the lead here through Adam Campbell with his first since August. John Sheridan, angry at his side conceding soft goals, has kept them behind to watch DVDs of the worst offenders. Best look away now as Gary Roberts was allowed to find Connor Chaplin, fresh from signing a new deal at Pompey. The visitors were missing the division's joint top scorer, John Stead, with an ankle injury. Campbell was able to fill that gap after fine work from Jonathan Fort to score his second of the day. Stead's absence meant Wolves' loanee Aaron Collins would get the opportunity to push for more game time, a chance he then squandered with that 2-footed lunge on David Ford. A suspension will follow for Collins, but his teammates climb into the playoff spots.
Will he stay or will he go? That's the buzz around Blundell Park concerning Paul Hurst's future. Improving Cheltenham used the uncertainty to extend their unbeaten league run to 5 matches. Billy Waters converting their only shot on target in the 9th minute. Hurst was saying nothing after the match, increasing speculation that he's off to Shrewsbury soon. If he does go, he leaves on a defeat. Resolute defending helping Cheltenham seal their 2nd win in a row. Goalscorer Waters typifying their endeavours with a perfectly timed clearance to preserve the clean sheet.
OK, 6 more games to have a look at now. Accrington's late win over Blackpool last weekend saw them move into the playoff places for the first time since the opening day of the season. Today, they face Crawley.
After last season's relegation battle, this campaign is more promising for Crawley, but Accrington had the better of this game. Omar Beckle's header cleared off the line by Jimmy Smith. Crawley failed to score at home for the first time this season. Stanley should have found the net, John O'Sullivan hitting the post, but they stay in the playoff spots ahead of Crawley on goal difference.
Crewe haven't lost at home since April in the league, and they must have felt that record would remain intact when Chris Dagnall came tantalisingly close to their opener. But Yeovil have tightened up defensively of late and packed a punch of their own as Matt Dolan found the corner that Dagnall couldn't. Crewe came back swinging with Dagnall again at the heart of everything, but a third clean sheet in a row means the Somerset side held on.
Colchester's winless run is now 7 matches, despite twice taking the lead at home to Morecambe. They were in front after only 4 minutes, courtesy of Chris Porter's 5th goal of the season. But Jim Bentley's side are renowned travellers, and when Alex Winter shoved Peter Murphy in the back, they were given a penalty. Tom Barkhausen stepped up casually, far too casually as it turned out. Sam Walker in the Colchester goal simply had to stand his ground. A red face for the Morecambe striker on that occasion, but Barkhausen was able to atone 10 minutes later. A delightful chip over the on-rushing Walker to restore parity. The Essex side were back in front soon after. Dre Wright's shot was saved. Richard Brindley's follow-up was handled by Kevin Ellison, who did his best to suggest that he'd taken it face first. The referee wasn't buying that, and Porter duly showed Barkhausen how it's done. But Morecambe haven't lost on their travel since opening day, and they extended that record 13 minutes from time thanks to substitute Lee Molyneux's first of the season. If only the Shrimps could hit the road every week.
Halfway through his 4th match in charge of Leyton Orient, Alberto Cavasin was contemplating another defeat. Just before the break, Josh Lawrence's first senior goal had given Hartlepool the edge. But the Italians team came out fighting in the second half and took their hosts apart following Sandro Semedo's equaliser. In the space of 16 minutes after that, the struggling Londoners put some daylight between themselves and the division's bottom 2. All the damage inflicted by Ollie Palmer, who had the Pools players chasing shadows when he completed the turnaround. Palmer topped things off with his 3rd goal in 2 games, aided by some more defending which infuriated Hartlepool manager Craig Hignett, and by the sounds of it, the home crowd, who've yet to see their team win at Victoria Park this season.
Exeter have the worst home record in all 4 English leagues. 1 point and just 1 goal scored. And with defending like that from keeper Christy Pym and Luke Kroll, you can see why. Luke Berry very happy to take advantage. And 3 minutes later it got even worse for the Grecians as Cambridge, who'd not won here in 14 years, doubled their lead. Harrison Dunk with his first of the season. Exeter had failed to score in their last 5 home league games, a club record. That came to an end when Robbie Simpson scored against his former team, not enough to stop Exeter dropping into the danger zone.
Barnet did themselves a favour at the wrong end of League Two when Mauro Villette chose this day to mark the occasion of his first goal in league football, giving the Bees a 65th minute lead at Wickham. That's how it stayed until late on, when the Chairboys Miles Weston picked up 2 yellow cards in 7 minutes, the second one for a tackle from behind on Villette. Reduced to 10 men, the visitors then wrapped up the points thanks inevitably to John Akinde, now into double figures for the season, and this his 17th goal in his last 20 appearances. Victory ends Barnet's run of 6 league games without a win. Akinde will be vital to their prospects moving forward.
20 away wins in 35 EFL games. Yours was one of them. Do we read anything into that, Paul?
Yeah, I think teams are becoming more accomplished at playing away from home. There was always a big obsession with possession. I think teams now are more comfortable winning games without the ball and maybe setting up in a more way to counter-attack and get the points that way.
Playing with no fear. If it's good enough, Mickey, for Leicester City, it's good enough for anyone.
Yeah, exactly. I just think sometimes the players, you know, they find it more comfortable playing away from home, and certainly happened this weekend with 20 away wins. Fantastic.
Right, let's take a look, shall we, at the League Two table. Just to wrap things up, here we go. Wickham dropped to 21st, while Barnet, they're now a place above them. Newport stay bottom of the EFL, 6 points off Exeter. At the other ends, There we are. Plymouth have extended their lead at the top to 4 points. And it's now Carlisle who are second. Doncaster slip to third. Luton stay fourth. And Portsmouth, Notts County and Accrington make up the rest of the top 7. That's as far as we go tonight, so thanks to Michael and good luck for the rest of the season to you, Paul, as well. Great to have you along. Don't forget you can join me on Wednesday night for highlights from round 4 of the EFL Cup. Can't wait for this. Some great games to look forward to, including the Manchester derby, plus West Ham versus Chelsea, and that's at 10:30. We leave you this time with the game of the day, I would say, featuring 2 former Premier League teams now battling to get out of League One. You won't bet against either of them on today's evidence. We'll leave it there for now. Good night.